Hello and welcome to this NDTV exclusive. The latest battleground in the fight against the CAA has become a number of opposition-led states either passing resolutions against the CAA in the assembly or, as in the case of Kerala, taking the law to court. But can they do it? Do they have the legal powers to do it? Will it stand the constitutional test? Who better to explain that than Kapil Sibal, senior lawyer and also senior leader of the Congress. Now, Mr. Sibal, you were at a literary festival in Kerala where you were quoted as saying that if the CAA is passed, no state can say I will not implement it. It's not possible. You can oppose it, you can pass a resolution and ask the central government to withdraw it. But constitutionally saying I won't implement it is going to be problematic. Now, this remark has been taken by your political rivals as a sign that you have actually endorsed their position. You're laughing.
So what do you mean by in that statement when I say you can oppose it? How do you oppose it? That statement says I can oppose it. How do you oppose it? By filing petition in court.
Right.
That remark is there. And remember, there were 3 events in Kerala. One was this lit festival.
Yes.
The other were interviews with various television channels.
Yes.
And fourth is a public, third was a public meeting where 2.5 lakh people attended.
Right.
And I, in that public meeting, said that the CAA should be thrown into the Arabian Sea.
Okay.
Right? And that 9 lies have been told by this government on the CAA. And that's entirely unconstitutional. So when I said you can oppose it, means in a court of law.
Okay.
Right?
So your comments were not validating the CAA as your rivals have made it out to be.
No, why would I validate when I am arguing the case in the Supreme Court seeking the unconstitutionality of this act? Where is the question of saying that it is valid?
You are one of the petitioners in the Supreme Court against the CAA.
The lead matter in the Supreme Court is being argued by me, challenging the CAA. So obviously, you know what happens with the media and what happens with the opposition. They'll take something out of context and start sort of thumping, patting their own back that, see, I've supported them.
Right.
I'm not known to support this government on almost anything.
But what you were saying, Mr. Sibal, just for you to then set the record straight, you were saying that states can pass resolutions against it, they can take it to court.
Yes.
But if the court upholds it,
absolutely,
then they will have to implement it.
What else can anybody do? Can you say I will not implement the NIA, the legislation on the NIA?
The National Investigating Agency,
right,
which has also been challenged by
not the Right to Education Act. Can anybody say I will not implement it? Not implemented reservations under the Constitution. Nobody can, no state can say that. But that's when the court says that it's a valid law.
Right.
Our hope is that the court doesn't say that.
Okay, so you're saying in that event,
naturally,
that's what you meant?
Naturally. No, I made it clear.
Sure. But as far as, Mr. Sibal, the legality or the constitutionality of assembly after assembly now passing resolutions against the CAA, is that
perfectly valid?
Is that valid?
Perfectly valid. See, an assembly in any state is an autonomous body. It's an autonomous constitutional body. It has the right to pass resolutions. And what does the resolution say? It advises the center, because the assemblies and the state feel that this is unconstitutional. It has advised the center to withdraw the CAA. Yes. Now, the center may accept that advice, may not accept that advice, but it's perfectly right, perfectly constitutional for the state to pass such a resolution.
But would you still say, though, that these resolutions are more of a symbolic nature, because you can't physically actually prevent the CAA from coming into force?
No, but that's not what the resolutions say. Right. The resolutions say, please withdraw it. Who withdraws it? The central government, the Union of India, Parliament, which has passed that law. So through Parliament, you can move a legislation saying we withdraw it. That's the advice given by the legislative assemblies. The Union may not accept that advice.
Okay, so it's a kind of almost a political statement that you may be making as an assembly by saying that we don't accept this and we urge you to reject it.
I don't think it's just political. It's the sense of the people in India through their representatives in the various opposition states saying, don't do this, because you'll bring a lot of uncertainty in the lives of people.
Okay. And as far as, Mr. Sibal, Kerala moving the Supreme Court as well against the CAA, they are within their rights to do that?
Well, I don't know, because that's a question that has to be decided by the Supreme Court. See, Kerala, you can move a petition. That petition, whether you can move it or not, is something that the Supreme Court will decide. Just as I have sought the striking down of CAA, it's for the Supreme Court to decide. So the Union of India can take a position that this petition is not maintainable. and the state of Kerala can say, no, we have a constitutional right, there is a dispute between the center and the state.
Sure.
Now, how the court decides it, for the court to decide.
No, of course, that's on merits. But I'm saying that there is, because they've moved under Article 31 of the Constitution, which I believe is what you invoke 131, I beg your pardon, for the court to mediate between the center and the states on disputes. So do they, what I'm asking you is that...
Well, I don't know.
It is a window is that window permissible?
Again, that's an academic question, but before that, these petitions are going to be heard.
Right.
So that's really an academic question.
Okay. Mr. Sibal, there is a question though, that while it's true that Congress-led governments are increasingly now going to pass resolutions against the CAA, Punjab has already done so, and I believe others are. But many are saying that the real enabling mechanism of the whole CAA NRC process is the National Population Register,
right,
which begins from April.
Right.
And only 2 states, Kerala and West Bengal, have actually put that on hold.
Right.
Congress-led governments have not.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a question being raised on whether you're really serious about stopping this.
No, again, that's an academic question. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
In December 2019, a notification is issued by the government,
yes,
saying that the NPR process will start from April 1 and finish in September. Right? Now, merely because a legislation is passed called the Citizens Amendment Act, that has really no meaning, because the legislation will only be effective once people are identified as citizens or as illegal immigrants, right? Now, that process will be done through the state governments, right? And by officers through the Registrar General of India,
yes,
who is authorized to continue to settle this issue,
yes,
right? Now, when the enumeration is going to take place, the state officers are going to be empowered to do the enumeration.
yes.
Now, those state officers will go house to house.
Yes.
This is not a census. That census is another exercise altogether.
Yes,
this is not a census.
No, it's
so
not.
he will ask some details, and there are 6 additional questions that they have added.
Yes.
And if that officer feels or that person feels that he's not clear whether he is residing in India legally,
yes,
he will put a D there, means doubtful.
Correct.
And then an inquiry process will start, which will take 30 days, 90 days, an appeal provision and all
yes,
that, right? Now, what 2 states have done is to say that we will not collaborate with the union,
yes,
in this process.
Yes.
And there are no Congress governments have not, issued such a statement or made such a statement,
but
or
that's
decided
the question.
to do
Why
that.
not?
No, I don't know, because I'll tell you why.
Okay.
This whole process is going to start in April, right? And the petitions in the Supreme Court are going to be heard much before that. So there is no point for our state governments to do any of this. But I think the state governments will be well advised to advise the center, don't take forward this process in April. Please postpone it.
Right. Given that the
matter is pending in Supreme Court, please postpone this process unnecessarily. You're bringing a lot of confusion, and actually there is a national crisis brewing here. And I can see that in the kind of protests that are going on across the country. So I think the union will be well advised to postpone this process till the resolution, till the issue is resolved in Supreme Court.
But Mr. Sibal, you seem somewhat optimistic about the timeline here. You're saying that the matter is, the NPR process is in April, and the court will perhaps come to some kind of...
We are in January,
okay,
and the 9 judges are going to hear the other matter very soon, and that will finish maybe in 30 days' time. And you've got February, you've got March, you've got 1st of April. That's a lot of time. In the meantime, the matter is coming up in Supreme Court on the 22nd.
Right.
Right? And we can move for stay of any process. So all that is available to us. So why at the moment should we take a position when the process is not even started?
Okay. Mr. Sibal, let me ask you this as we start to wrap up, that you have asked for the CAA to be thrown into the Arabian Sea. Now, as we know, the odds of that are highly unlikely.
Why?
Well, they are. So
I don't think so.
Okay. But let me ask you this, that you've been in government. So the chances of 100% or 180-degree rollback might be slim. But if this government was to explore a way out, a kind of face saver in all of this, what would that be? Because the bill has already been passed by both houses of parliament. It's now an act. Could a solution be to perhaps amend a contentious part of it, as some are suggesting?
No.
To remove the religious classification?
It is intrinsically unconstitutional. And I'll tell you why. And I'll explain this in a minute or two to you. Number one, why was this bill brought in Parliament? It's because after the NRC process in Assam, of the 19 lakhs who were excluded from the National Register of Citizens in Assam, several lakhs were Hindus. The BJP could not take a position that we will now leave those Hindus out and put them in detention centers. There are several detention centers in Assam. So they brought this bill. Now what this does is extend it to all of India. Right? Now the basis of extending it to all of India is to take out all those people who are illegal immigrants. But all the people who have come have not sought protection from the state on the basis of persecution, even people in Assam.
Yes.
Because when you say that you have been persecuted,
yes,
and that's not even part of the legislation.
It isn't, yes.
It's only in the objects and reasons.
Yes.
So when you say you've been persecuted, you must relate it back to the day when you came to India.
Yes.
So if you came to India in 1970, 1980, 1990, unless you have said and gone to the authorities that I've been persecuted,
how do you prove it?
How does Parliament pass a law with respect to the intention of individuals who came to India who have not claimed that they were persecuted?
Right.
What authority does Parliament have to pass a law? And then you say that only Hindus will be given that protection, nobody else.
And
no, but there's a problem there. Citizenship is not based on religion. The Constitution says you will get, in 1950, you will be a citizen if you're born in India. So I may be born a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Christian,
right,
a Sikh. I'll be a citizen. Your parents were born in India. Doesn't matter whether you're Sikh or Hindu. Right. Number three, that you've been residing here for 11 years. Nothing to do with religion. Number four, that you are registered as a citizen. Nothing to do with religion. Right. Number five, that you are in the occupied territories which have been taken over by the government of India, namely Goa, Sikkim. Nothing to do with religion. For the first time in the history of India, religion has been made the basis of citizenship. Right. It is unthinkable.
Okay, so you're saying there's no way of tweaking this or of amending it. It's all or nothing. I mean, this
fundamentally flawed. It's fundamentally unconstitutional.
Okay, well, let's see how the courts finally weigh in on this. But Mr. Sibal, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.